Yep. So good morning, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. If you can turn on your cameras, if you're in the showers, leave them off. We don't need that, but otherwise, turn them on. Participate with us, okay? If you're a guest with us, I just want to say welcome. We do this every Tuesday. We're part of a group called Freedom Team. We're at EXP. This is not an EXP thing at all. This is just value add for as many agents as want to come and get poured into. We've had some great stuff over the last couple of years. We record all these. They're up on our Freedom Team YouTube channel, up on our workplace group. For those of us in EXP, lots of places to find these, but some really good stuff leading to lots of production. The people that, I talk to people every day. Oh, I'm having such a hard time, having a hard time. And it's a challenging time, but I'm also seeing the ones that are coming in here consistently. And I'm telling you, we're picking up business. We're doing deals because of stuff we're learning here. So today, this is awesome. So Eric Golden, I've known Eric for a long, long time now. Eric has been involved in real estate for well over 40 years. He's owned several brokerages over the years. Has flipped over 300 homes in his career. Very entrepreneurial, great trainer, great leader in so many ways. One of the Freedom Team founders. And we were talking last week. There's some things that we're working on as a group of founders, to just help all you guys and all of us, whatever. But Eric's been putting some stuff together and, volunteered to do this today. All of us could use more business right now, but here's some things that are working for a lot of the leaders in Freedom Team and some things we're putting together. I'm gonna let Eric take it over. 7 top tips to get more leads, right now. We could all use those. So anyway, Eric, I appreciate you doing this. Obviously great working with you all these years and all the stuff you're doing, pouring into all of us all the time. So appreciated. So thank you very much for jumping in. Go ahead, take it away, man.
Man, thank you. Thank you. Nice to be here. Pleasure to be here with everybody. It's exciting to be here on a Tuesday. We know the market is shifting the way the market is shifting. Interest rates are up, inventory is low, and now's the time to decide if you really want to be a realtor. And the answer to that is, of course, you do. The same 2 things we wanted years ago or months ago when you got your license. The same thing I wanted 40 years ago. I saw real estate and I said, wow, I could have an unlimited income and a flexible schedule. Well, it doesn't feel like that for most of us, but I want you to understand that that is a goal you can have. It is an achievable goal. It isn't just a dream and it's just not a fantasy. There are many people that live that kind of lifestyle where they have leads coming in and they're not scurrying about looking for the next one, the next buyer, the next listing, the phone to ring. And more than that, we never studied in our real estate course, not that the course was all that valuable to any one of us, we just had to pass the test, but we never studied how to generate leads. It's the one single thing that separates the successful agents from the less successful agents. If you're here working part-time and you're watching this either live or on a video, I want you to understand that you could earn a full-time living by being a part-time lead generator. And if you're full-time, I want you to understand you can earn better than a full-time living being a part-time lead generator. But the one common piece to both of those is you need to be a part-time lead generator. You can't evade that in today's world. If you don't already have a sphere of influence, you already haven't farmed so the cows have come home, then the bottom line is you're going to need to figure out in today's current market how to generate leads. Not just how to generate leads, but how to not go broke generating leads. And that means not grow broke financially and not grow broke when it comes to the time you invest. There's so many things to learn, especially with this new AI. Man, I can't even spell AI. Oh, wait, I guess I just did. But the bottom line to it is, if you think about it, the last thing any of us signed up to do was learn more. So I'm going to go old school on you. I'm going to tell you some things over the next few minutes. And by the way, this is going to be, if it's done properly, this is going to be what I call a masterclass in mindset and manifestation leading to momentum and money. Show of hands if I can see you. Is that a cool class to participate in? Yes or no? Is this a good one today? So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the mindset necessary and the manifestation that can come from it, so you can build momentum, which turns into the only reason we got into real estate in the first place, so we can make enough money. I don't care how much you love real estate. If you're not making enough money, you're not loving real estate. And so if that's the case, what we're going to do today is spend a few minutes on each of these pieces. We have to talk about the mindset of lead generation. We have to talk about the manifestation of what you want out of this. We have to talk about the idea that you don't have to constantly be in learning or building mode. At some point, you can truly take your foot back off the little bit of the gas, and the vehicle will still go down the road, delivering money after money after money. And if that's not what you've done so far in your career, you're in for not only a rude awakening, but a great awakening today. Now, with that said, here's what governs all of those things. You need to understand the way you think affects everything. The person you are affects everything. And the result you desire affects everything. And I want you to understand this is part of the mindset. Many of us aren't generating leads because we're thinking incorrectly. I'm going to give you a different perspective. Some of us are not generating leads because you're working in a lead generating structure, format, or channel that isn't in line with who you are. If you're not a person that wants to be in front of the camera, you're not going to do YouTube. Oh, but I got to change. No, you don't. There's plenty of things for you. So some of us have worked diligently. We've studied hard. We've invested long and hard on it. We've invested lots of money just to realize it's not who we are. And then the last thing is the result you desire. It's probably my favorite thing to talk about. And here's why. I was talking to a good buddy. As of yesterday, Alonzo Johnson became a good buddy of mine. Why? Because yesterday we had a strategy conversation, Zoom, in which we talked about the result he desired. And without his permission, although I don't believe he'll be frustrated if I offer this information up, I asked him a question at the beginning, and I'm going to ask you all the same question. By the way, every time you come to these on a Tuesday, generally, every time you listen and review these, my guess is you want to learn something. And if you want to learn something, it generally is better if you have pen and paper in hand. If you're driving down the street, please don't commit to texting the ideas. But I want you to know, every time you're investing in any kind of training or learning format, you should be all in. Unless you're driving, your camera should be all on. And unless you're handling a closing going sideways, your focus should be all here. And so I was talking to Alonzo, and one of the things we talked about was what his desire was. And I said, over the next 12 months, what's a minimum volume or income that you'd like to achieve? I don't care what it is. I don't care how low it is or how high it is. And by the way, this is the beginning of your training, people, because I want you to answer these questions for yourself as you're listening to the way Alonzo answered them. Number one, again, I said, how much is the minimum? I'm not a guy that loves minimums, but you're a person that generally shoots for a number, and often as a normal realtor, you don't hit it. So I want to give you, and you'll see in a minute why, a number that you feel you can hit. Today's market, where you are in the marketplace, with what you have going around you, with your health and your family and all the other detractions from focusing on real estate. The bottom line is, what is your minimum volume? What is your minimum income? He said $5,120,000. I said, that's a great starting point. I said, here's the next question for you. How many people are you working with right now that you think you could bring to a transaction over the next 12 months? He said, well, I've got 9 people I'm working with. I said, what's the average price point of where you live? He said, about 500,000. I said, how many of them are sellers, listers? He said, 3. I said, okay, if they're listing 3 of them, let's assume you help 2 of them sell and buy. That's 5 transactions. Then you have 6 other transactions from the buyers that you have in line. That sounds like 11 transactions at $500,000. That's over $5 million, over 110, 120,000. He said, oh my God, I don't have to generate any leads. And my answer to him was, you are right. The most important lead you have is the one that's already in your bucket. Please make sure you're doing a daily check, which means you should have a board, physical, a whiteboard in your office, on your desk, with the 9 names that Alonzo would have in your life. And every day you should be looking at them and going, do I need to do anything with Connie? No. Bob? No. Sam? Oh yeah, I owe him a text. Alice? Oh, you know what? I want to set her up for a showing. The bottom line is it should be a daily thought, because the best lead you have is the one you already have. Show of hands, does that make sense? Good stuff, right, Jeff? So the way you think about needing leads leads to how you feel about getting leads. The person you are about which channel to go at, which channel vertical to go after, affects how motivated you are to be who you are or have to change. But it's all governed by we're working too hard because we're thinking too much. I'll say it again. We're all working too hard because we're thinking too much. Often the result you desire is achievable through a simple strategy of working right with the people you already have, and then figuring out how many more leads you need in order to get to where you want to go. Now, let me go to another favorite clip. Often, I want you to start on the right-hand side of this. One of the problems with lead generation is most people don't do it consistently. I call that activity. You're never going to do anything, whether it be lead generation or anything else, consistently, unless at some point you have an urgency. So today, you came to this presentation because you read somewhere or heard somewhere that Eric's going to drop the bomb of 7 top tips to generate leads. And I'm going to do better than that. There's going to be 9 of them. But I want you to understand that there is no shift unless you have some urgent moment. And if you want to get to activity, it's through the door of urgency, and that door will never open. You cannot physically open the door of urgency. Let me give you an example why. How many times have you said, oh, Monday I'm going to start my diet, and Monday came and went. Monday I'm going to the gym, and Monday came and went. March 1st, I'm going to start this new program to stop smoking, and it came and went. Oh, I'm going to start this training to generate leads on April 15th, and it came and went. See, you can't make yourself urgent if you don't address the 2 products or ingredients that create urgency. Number 1, urgency is created by a desire for something. If you don't have a desire for something, you're not going to do anything more. True or not true?
True.
Thank you, Terry. And if you don't believe you can achieve it, you're not going to venture too far down the dark path. True or not true? So today, we're not going to talk about getting active. We're not going to talk about being urgent, because urgent, my favorite line, urgent is a byproduct of dream and belief. It's one of those things that just happens. Again, it's a door that you can't physically open, but will be opened for you by putting the right ingredients in your mind. If this were for health, I would say the 2 best things people can put in their health, if you want to change your health, is less tension and more water. Those 2 things will shift your system. Now, if you try to shift your system with a stressful lifestyle, or if you're not drinking enough water, your health will not be opened to you. So don't focus on better health. Focus on less stress and more water. Don't focus on generating leads. Focus on, what do I want out of it? And what path can I go on where I'm willing to walk through the darkness knowing what the light will feel like just a few strides away? Does that make sense? Yes or no? So here we go. Today, we're going to talk about what is your goal. And remember something, one of my favorite adages is, I say this all the time in my trainings. As kids, any of you have kids or were kids at one point? One of the lines that you always hear on the playground: "You're not the boss of me." "Oh, no, you're not the boss of me." When someone says you're not the boss of me, what are they meaning? Here's what they mean: you can't tell me what to do. Well, if they can't tell you what to do, then who has to tell you what to do? As Blake Shelton would go, you do. And so you're going to get to choose your path when it comes to lead generating. Today, I'm going to highlight a video that's coming out in the next 2 days. For those of us that are part of my agent attraction group, I'll be debuting it on Thursday. For those that aren't, contact the person that invited you here. They will have access to it by Friday. And the reason is it will go up on my YouTube page, Eric Golden YouTube page. You may find it Eric Golden EXP, but Eric Golden YouTube page. It'll be right next to my newest presentation for EXP. But again, it's generic for anybody in any brokerage. The 7 top tips to generating leads with a couple bonuses thrown in. So that's going to be available to you. Right now, it's a 51-minute training video, which we're going to take you through 9 different ways to generate leads. Just to give you a quick little bite. And again, I'll answer questions on anything. I'm going to come to an ending at some point in the next, I don't even know what time it is. What time we got? Good. In about 15 minutes, we're going to open up for any kind of questions on any of the things we talked about. But let me pause here. Before I debut a little bit about the video, I always ask my Freedom Team founding members, Jeff, Sean, any questions, anything you need me to recover, or are we good so far?
I think you're good.
Am I good or better than?
It's good. No, it's good stuff.
Am I excellent? Am
Definitely.
I incredible? Am I, oh my God.
You're doing good.
Okay, or am I like Jamie Lee Curtis? I loved your speech, the Jamie Lee Curtis speech at the Oscars just a while ago, when she said, "We won an Oscar." The hundreds of people that have ever interacted on this film or my life, we all won an Oscar. And she ended. If you haven't seen this, you need to watch her short clip. I am a big believer in motivation comes from outside sources. And as an aside, if you're not listening to 15 minutes of good stuff every day, and I don't mean 15 minutes in a book, I mean 15 minutes of something that moves your soul, then you're never going to combat the negative you face in the world. 15 minutes is like church on a Sunday. Doesn't matter how you feel on Saturday. By Sunday morning, you're a Christian and believing again, until, of course, your football team begins to go south Sunday afternoon and you go off the wagon again. But the bottom line is, why do we keep going on Sundays? Because it brings us back to who we want to be. And that's what 15 minutes will do for you. So before I show you this, I want you to remember, you're the boss of you. Number one, you're thinking too much, right? You're thinking too much about what to do because you're not simply looking at what you want to do. And what you want to do is what you want out of it, how many transactions a year, how many leads you need, because how many watch this, how many leads you need will help determine which path you use for lead generation. If you're a person that if it's a $500,000 community and you need to do $5 million, make $100,000, that's 10 leads. It's all you need. It's 10. Oh my God, it sounds so much easier than how many leads do I need? You need 10 buying or listing leads. In fact, if they're listing leads, generally 2 out of 3, again, will buy with you. So you get double-sided on that situation. And who knows if you get double-sided on one of your listings. So again, I'm going to go through topically the 9 ways we put together. And by the way, these 9 tips, although we call it the 7 top tips, these 9 tips came right out of our Tuesday trainings over the last year. So we welcome you to come back and learn this stuff when it freshly comes through the speaker who's training it. But I want you to know that we have an incredible library of all the opportunities to generate leads. I'm going to highlight a few of them right now. Thumbs up. Let's hope you can see the screen. Jeff, you see it?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, I got to give a big attaboy, attagirl to my wife, Everly. Yes, I am the mouthpiece and potentially the background and the information, but she makes this thing look really good. She's worked overnights regularly in order to get it ready for you today and for the world on Thursday. I hope you enjoy the first few minutes of 7 top tips to generate leads. There you go.
Hi there, my name is Eric Golden, and I'm a co-founder of the EXP Freedom Team. We're a group of over 3,000 agents, and many of us meet on a weekly basis to talk about the most important thing that you're going to want to hear about, and that's how to generate leads. Now, be aware that our weekly mastermind is open to any agent from any company. So we want to invite you to participate. What I've done here is pulled together 7 of my favorite tips, things that I know would work for each one of us if you decided to deploy them into your business strategy. Some of them have to do with your personality. Most of them have to do with your tenacity. I'm going to introduce 7 great partners, and each one of them have made 6 figures, if not 7 figures, with the techniques they're about to share with you. Go ahead, grab that seatbelt and buckle up. You're in for the ride of your life.
That's all we got. No, there's 49 minutes following that with the top 7 tips. We're gonna hit on those today. There's actually 2 additional ones. I'll hit on them as well, because I think it's important that you guys have and gals have what I believe, especially. Again, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen markets like this ebb and flow. This is the 3rd time I've actually seen this market kind of ebb and flow. And I will say that this one is easily tackleable. This one is probably the easiest because we have so many ways to generate leads. Understand, and you don't have to be an AI survivor, okay? You should learn it if you want to learn it, but many of the techniques I'm about to share with you don't require it, especially now. Let the early adopters, according to Malcolm Gladwell, blink. Let that 11% run to learn it fast, and then you can wait for the rerun or it to show up in Netflix at home rather than go to the theater. But some of these techniques, having AI in your back pocket, if you're technologically adept at doing it, will help. So again, let me go through the 7 you see on the screen real quickly, and then again, 9 that you, I'll add the other 2 as we do. 1 second. Pictures aren't there, but Jeff Morrell, my co-host today, he's going to talk about unsolicited video CMAs. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to rank these based on my favorite, based on me. And the reason I do this, and this is very important, I want you to hear this. Based on me means based on my personality. Based on me, based on what I feel comfortable doing. By the way, when I'm saying me, you're supposed to be saying you. Just that's the way it works. Based on me is based on how I would receive this if I were a prospect. And based on me is based on how many leads I really need. Jeff will tell you, in fact, Jeff, you're there, how many extra deals you do the last year because of unsolicited video CMAs?
Oh, man. I mean, probably 10, 12.
Okay. And your average price point?
I mean, Colorado Springs were, like 400, 450,
Okay,
pretty
so
much.
you did
500.
400 times, you did $5 million. You made 100 grand.
Yeah.
Did you feel that 100 grand? You felt it, right?
Yeah.
And what did it take you? How many minutes a day do you really focus on it?
I mean, by 30.
Okay. So how many of you would like to add 100, 150,000 to your bank account, spending 30 minutes? It's probably better than 30 minutes you're doing already. Aaron Kinn's going to talk about Google My Business. My favorite thing he says in Google My Business is, don't worry about the fact that it's been around for a while. Nobody's using it correctly. If If you use it correctly, you go right to the top. That sounded really good to me. Believe it or not, though, that's not the way I want to be publicly looked at. So that wouldn't be one I choose. But for some of you, it's a great opportunity. And I don't want to be publicly looked at that way because I'm shifting what I want people to think of me from someone doing real estate to someone teaching real estate. And so some of you, however, need to be known as you're doing real estate. So that would be a great option for you. Andy Hollis then turns around. And by the way, Aaron's made well over 100 grand in Google My Business over the last year. By the way, Jeff, did you pick up some Google My Business as well?
Oh yeah, no, and honestly, from Aaron's training, Aaron, and that came about. Aaron and I were talking. We talk all the time. We've been friends for over 20 years, and Aaron and I were talking last summer, and he just brought up, hey, by the way, do you have a Google business page? I said, I've got one, but not really. I haven't done anything with it, and whatever. And he said, oh, dude, you're missing out. Like I do 100,000 a year every year with my Google business page. And it cost me zero out of pocket to do it. So he got on a Zoom with me and I stopped him about 10 minutes in. I'm like, dude, you got to do this for our Tuesday group. This is so good, And so that's what we did in October. And we recorded it. I went back and watched the recording, took 2 hours, just paused it, set it up, paused it, implemented, paused it, copy, paste, set up my Google business page. And yeah, we've had 7 closings in the last, 6 months. And I just set it up in October. We got 2 leads yesterday off our Google business page, zero out of pocket. So yeah, it's working well.
Let me add, first of all, I'm glad it worked well. I'm glad you just fought it. It's paint by number. Yeah. Anyone can do it. We've got the entire masterclass that he did recorded. Anyone can listen to it. It's free information. He learned it from somebody. But Jeff, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip. I love when you say you did how many deals?
Like 7. I think we've done 7 so far.
So anytime you're telling the story, add the marketing piece because you need to attach emotion to it. So right. 7 at 450 is about $4 million, $3.5 million. What's that in? That's about 100 grand, right? 80 grand?
Yeah, close to it. Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask everybody, this is the emotional piece. How'd you like to add 80 grand on top of Jeff's 120 grand? $200,000 by spending 30 minutes on unsolicited video CMAs and how much time on Google Business? Jeff?
I'm on there like about a minute and a half a day.
Go!
That's
so now,
what I do. Yeah.
So I want everybody to hear this. You came to a masterclass today, and in the first 30 minutes, 29 minutes, I taught you the way to think about leads, the way to think about your future, the way to not fight with yourself. And then 31 and a half minutes a day produces $200,000 a year. Let me say that again. 31 and a half minutes a day produces $200,000 a year. And you're going to say one of two things. Dang it, I'm going that way. Or you're going to say, but I'm not Jeff. How do you know who you are? You could be the highest ranking person in Google My Business in your area. And you probably will if you listen to his techniques, Aaron Kim. And you'll be the only person doing unsolicited video CMAs in your entire hemisphere because nobody's doing them and they flipping work. Now we go to YouTube. Andy kills it on YouTube. I love it's one of my favorite trainings. And he's going to talk about how you, in about 15 seconds, set up your page, how you go through a simple tutorial, and how you load reviews in from anybody. And immediately you'll be recognized by YouTube as important. And all of a sudden, you're going to duplicate yourself because people are going to see your videos doing things. And bottom line is your phone's going to start to ring. Aileen Fountain then talks about client appreciation parties. That is another thing that I really enjoy. If you have a fairly good breadth of contacts, people you've either done business with or people that know you're in real estate, you can invite them as well. She covers from soup to nuts, A to Z, the mindset, what to do, how to do it. And if you need business right now, the one that's going to make a difference right now is a client appreciation party. Because the bottom line to it is, at the party, people will come up to you and they'll say, oh my gosh, I need to get you to come by the house. Or, hey, I'm looking for a move sometime here. My cousin, can I give her your card? This is what happens at client appreciation parties. If you're the person that's festive, you like to organize things. And by the way, what's it called? If you tell the future of what is it called? If you tell the future of some movie and you the surprise, what's that called?
Spoiler.
Oh, spoiler alert.
There you go.
She does hers. It cost her about $200. Last one she did had about 70 people. You're going to want to review to figure out how do you do a client appreciation party with $200 out of pocket. And you may be wondering, well, I don't have enough clients for it. The answer is yes, you do. Watch the video.
Can I share a couple things, Eric, real fast?
100 things. I'm tired. Go ahead.
Just real quick. So I want just a couple things with Aileen. So again, Aileen's training, Lane and I, my wife and I, we did a housewarming party using her, or what she did in that training. And I'll just say we had 7 closings that came from one housewarming party. Again, just following Aileen's methods that she uses to make that work. So just to share that, it cost us $160. We split the total cost of that party with our lender, who was also there, who would help them buy the house. So $320 total, $160 out of our pocket. We had 7 closings that came from that one housewarming party. I want to go back to real quick. Andy,
wait.
Okay,
You had 7 closings at $450,000.
Yeah,
which is about 400 grand, which then means about another 80 grand. So adding that, how would everybody like to add an extra 80 grand on top of the other 80 grand, on top of the 120 grand? And you're laughing about it, but I want everybody to understand leads generate income. And the only thing stopping you from the income isn't the leads. It's walking down the path far enough to get to them. Go ahead, Jeff, with what else you were going to say.
I just wanted to mention Andy Hollis. I've gotten to know Andy, here, part of Freedom Team. We were in Dallas together at an event in December. And that was the first time I'd really gotten to just really sit down and talk with Andy. Andy came from car sales and, got licensed over in real estate. And in August of 2022, he was ready to go back to car sales. He went to an EXP event. There was a guy up there that talked 20 minutes about YouTube. Andy got a spark, said, I'm going to go do this, but he was ready to leave the business. I mean, go back to, out of real estate. Went home and basically just started working on his YouTube channel, duplicating what Levi Lassick had done. Just watched his video, did the same video, watched this video, did the same video, but did it in Alabama where he's at. I know in January, February here, these last 2 months, Andy had $150,000 in commissions from, his YouTube channel. He will do $500,000 this year from his YouTube channel, or more. And a year and a half ago, he was ready to walk away from the business. So that's a great training to watch, Andy's YouTube training. So it was just super inspiring. But again, if that's the niche you want to go down and set up a YouTube channel, here's the training to watch, and you can set that up, and it could become the hub of your business. I mean, it was so powerful. We were sitting there having dinner one night, and he literally had a call. I got to take this call, and it was a guy calling him from his YouTube channel. Said, "Hey, I've been watching your videos. I think you and I could be drinking buddies." That's basically what he said, because that's what happens. They get to know you. He'd never talked to him before. It was a $1.2 million cash buyer. Whoa. Who was ready to work with Andy when he got back home from Dallas after that event we were at. So, again, never talked to him before, but now he's ready to go, and there's this, it's amazing what all this stuff can do for you. So anyway, okay, there's Andy.
I have a quick question.
Joseph, I have a quick answer.
Yes. When people are, well, let's say when you're doing a housewarming party, what do you do at the housewarming party that is some kind of a call to action that would make the people, that either the people who came to the party or the people who have connection with them, call you to do business with you?
So we did ours, first of all, it was about 2 months after the clothing, give them time to, we set it up with them. Hey, we'd like to do this for you guys if you want. Oh, that'd be great. Whatever. We got their list of people they wanted to invite. So we got like 30 people right there that we were able to add to our database that we can now start, dripping on that kind of stuff. We sent out the invite. Over those 2 months that they were there, they got to know all their neighbors. So we invited all the neighbors as well. Okay. Our lender comes in, we split the cost. We did it on a Friday night. It was like a wine and cheese sort of thing from like 5 to 7. And very simple, so all these people are coming. The neighbor across the street comes over. He was invited, right? And sure enough, there was no call to action. It's just a hangout time. We welcomed everybody, thanked them for coming. I think Joseph and Stephanie, the couple, they shared a couple of things just to thank, and they thanked the lender. What a great, thing it was. And we're so happy to be here and great to meet all our new neighbors and thank, whatever. It was just a quick little simple mix and mingle sort of thing. But the neighbor across the street comes over and he's like, hey, can we set up a time? My wife passed away a few years ago. I've lived here 30 years. I'm moving to Arizona to be with my kids. And so, sure, we set it up like Tuesday, Wednesday that week. We're going out. We went over and met him, looked at his house. We had an investor that we called like, hey, this is, we're going to put this on the market. This could be a good, fix and flip. They've lived there a long time, needs some updating. It was a nice house, just needed some updates. Investor comes over, looks at it. We double-ended that one. We ended up doing an open house when he got it together. We picked up 4 clients from that. Whatever, we ended up selling that house. Got the commission there. It turned into 7 deals by the time it was done. There was really no call to action necessarily. It was just a fun event. And, we did calm everybody down at one point. Can we get everybody's attention real quick? Joseph and Stephanie, first of all, congratulations on your house. Give it up for Joseph and Stephanie, whatever. Thank you for the party, all that kind of stuff. They talked for a minute. It was just really quick and simple. But us mingling with everybody, we got to know everybody, and we added 30 more people plus to our database that we're now dripping on. That it'll probably lead to more future deals as well, So anyway, but again, Aileen in that training, she breaks all that down, but all other kinds of events and parties that you could do. So lots of different things. We've done several. They've come out of that. So.
And thank you, Joseph, for the question. Not to neglect what Jeff said at one point, Andy got a call from a guy who said we could be drinking buddies and then put roughly $60,000 into his pocket. Remember, a lead generates business. Business generates income. Income generates lifestyle. I know you think I keep running back to the numbers, but isn't that why you leave your family every day to go collect money so you can come back to your family? Isn't that why you go to work so you can buy a boat and enjoy the boat? Money doesn't lead to happiness, but boating on Wednesday surely does. Going on the vacation you want to go on surely does. The last thing we want to be is a slave to lead generation, needing the next lead so we can go to a restaurant we want to go at when we're on a vacation. We want to solve that. And if you've been on that hamster wheel over and over and over, round upon round upon, when do you want to solve it? I want to solve it in the first or second quarter of 2024 before the first or second quarter of 2025. How about you? So leads to open houses. I'm going to make a statement. Open house is where I built my steady income. I think it is the most reliable, old school that never goes out of date if you do it right. Sean Corbett does an incredible job. He's also a very comfortable speaker. You'll love listening to him. And he talks about open houses. And he's done a couple of trainings for us on open houses, one every 6 months or so. And he's a master at letting you realize the special few little tips and that every properly run open houses leads to multiple qualified prospects. And so I highly recommend you look at open houses. My favorite line in what he said was this: if you don't have 8 to 10 buyers you're working with showing property every weekend, you should be doing an open house to find those 8 to 10 buyers to be working with. So you're either working on the weekend with buyers collecting money, or you're working on the weekend to find the buyers so you can show them on the weekend to find money. But until your bills are paid and your bank account is padded, agents should be working on the weekend. Now, you may be someone that says, I don't want to work on the weekend. Open houses would not be the one for you. But the concept of what he was talking about is valid. Thank you, Sean Corbett. Whew. Then we go to the electrified Jackie Brown. Jackie makes probate something you feel like you want to come out of the grave to do. I mean, she does an amazing, amazing job. Her energy is so frenetic, it's contagious. She's an incredible speaker. She's incredibly knowledgeable, and she is honest with what probate. If you've ever thought about probate, listen to this little mini class, and then find the 1 hour version of her training, and potentially go to her where she actually teaches a 7-step method on getting in and successful in probate to make 6 figures a year. She does a great job. You will love listening to Jackie. And then in this first 7, we close out with one of our co-founders, a guy that's done incredible work on behalf of the Freedom Team, putting things together, along with Jeff and Kathy Carter and Sean Sturrock and myself. Tim Hollenden has been using a 7-letter campaign for FSBOs and expireds. For those of you that don't want to get in front of a camera, for those of you that don't know technology, for those of you that know enough how to buy a number 10 envelope, go buy a roll of stamps, and don't mind licking and sticking, you will generate a constant flow of inbound leads without ever having to pick up the phone. If that sounds like you, then Tim Hollenden has the information you're looking for. Let me go through the other ones real quickly. I think I can get there by doing this. I don't think my wife will get upset with me doing it this way. Here we go. And the bonuses. David Doran introduces you to something that's very, very en vogue. By the way, en vogue for me means ready for you now. It's called a concierge listing. What that means is, and by the way, his statement is he never, ever loses a listing presentation. They always sign with him, because what he offers them is the ability to upgrade their house in some minor way to make it sell at a higher price and defer the cost of that by painting, a little landscaping, changing out a couple of appliances, just things that would make the house sell faster at a higher value, with the owner, the lister, either paying normal price in advance of the closing or a little bit higher price at the closing because they've now made more money, but they don't have to come out of pocket at all. David does a great training on that. If you are a person that thinks about multiple ways to make income off a single transaction, and you have any kind of construction or design in your background, it's also a great way. I'll throw in an aside. I didn't do one of these master classes. This would be the one I would do, is how to build an informal chamber of commerce, or BNI, with a group around you. Start a lead club. Find one plumber, one roofer, one exterminator, one inspector, one landscaper, right? One painter, one cabinet person, one handyman, and say, look, you're my guy, I'm your guy. Over the next year, I'm going to give you at least 1 or 2 leads that close. You're going to give me at least 1 or 2 leads that close. And if you build a group of 10, you now have 10 to 20 leads that close. Do the math on 500,000. You just made 1 to 200 grand. Bingo. I don't have to train you long on how to do that. You just got to be the kind of person that networks well with repair people. And if you do that, then concierge listings is right up your alley. Pretty cool, right? The last one isn't really a lead generating, but it encapsulates everything I said at the beginning of the presentation. If you remember, in fact, do this. If you're able to write in the chat box, that means you're not driving. If you're driving, no chatting. Open your chat box, you're able to write. I'm going to spend 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I want to look at everybody's answer. And I want you to tell me, I said at the beginning, what is the best, and then I'll cover Jason's in a minute, what is the best lead that someone can have? Put it in the chat box. What did I say at the beginning? Terry Yash. Perfect. The one, Lashonda. Pete France. Awesome. The ones you already have. Now, many of your leads are buyers, and many of us can't get them to pull the trigger. True or not true?
True.
Oh, gosh. If my wife weren't sitting right next to me, I would show you and let you listen to just his intro. When he says he spent 9 months with the first one.
Go ahead.
Okay, she said, go ahead. I love her. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
It's not
I couldn't leave this one out. Here's my Freedom Team partner, David Doran. Engineer, get buyers in real estate to buy on the very first day.
Hi, my name is Jason Kay. My background is my first 18 years I was in corporate as an engineer. I am now a recovering engineer. During that time, I got my 35 patents, master's in engineering. And my very first sale, I took my client out 127 times and took 9 months. The last 35 of 37 showings I've done, I've taken client out once. And I'm here to show you how to do that.
God, I love this video. Guys and gals, that's what you're going to learn. How to get buyers to buy today so you can move on to the next buyer. But more importantly, when you get a buyer to buy in the first day, do you realize you're sowing a ripple into the future of that buyer telling that story to anyone they know? You made their experience the best experience. So they're going to tell more people, which means you get to golf on Monday, fish on Wednesday, and go shopping all weekend long in New York. Please don't take these lead generation tips, the 7 top tips to generate leads +2. Don't create a slave mentality because you have a slave existence. Get above them. Get to the point where you're working on your business rather than working your business. And if you generate leads through the right strategy, the one that's in line with what you need, how many you need, who you are, how you think, and more important than any of them, the one that'll give you enough belief to match the dream you have to create the byproduct of urgency to get you into activity. We're now 10 minutes left in the hour. Happy to answer any specific questions. If you're going to ask questions, I say any, let me change that. Happy to answer questions. But if they're specific about the 9 techniques we talked about, just hang tight, wait 48 hours. We spent enough time working on it. Please wait 48 hours to get the final version, final cut, so my wife doesn't get mad at me for giving too much away. But I will tell you, if you're a team leader, if you're a person that wants to go from 1 million to 4 million, 4 million to 8 million, 8 million to 12 million, you're going to find things in this video that'll remind you that you're working too hard and you're thinking too much. Remember, we meet every Tuesday, the exact same time, 11 a.m. Eastern, on the exact same link. So if you're here live, you found us. If you're still here 50 minutes later, you like us. But if you're watching it on a recording, don't do that next time. Anthony Robbins says, there's power in the people. Now, he's not the first person that said it, but he's the one I'm going to give credit for it because it's the one I remember. I was at a point in time where he said that, and I realized I'm not that important when I'm training. I'm only training to make you important. Hopefully, I made you feel that way. If I said something that offended you in a way that really bothered you, please address whether that's my problem or your problem. And if it was my problem, I apologize. But it probably wasn't. Jeff, Sean, I'm back to you or anybody asking questions.
Yeah, I'd love for you to elaborate because you've done it with me a couple of times. You do a great job. That whole dream and belief, because I think a lot of times, and I know I've been guilty of it, you're at an event, you're at a training, you're inspired, you go back to your house or back in your office or whatever, and you get ready to start doing things, things get sidetracked, you kind of get pulled back into your old habits. And I know that's all because the dream and belief is not strong enough. The why. And I know it's mindset, and somebody might be like, what the heck are you? To me, without that, like you said, none of the other stuff happens. Elaborate a little bit, because you're pretty much a master at that whole dream and belief and how you dig deep to really get it in your soul to take action.
Thanks for the words. I appreciate it very much. Don't take it lightly. I do think sometimes they give people a perspective they haven't heard before. So stay awake for the last 7 minutes, because it may be the 7th minute. It reminds me, as a public speaker, which I've done for a while, I was asked to speak to a high school class at Highland Miami Lakes High School in Miami area, Florida. I think this was 1983 or 84. And I was asked to come into their business class for juniors and seniors. And at that point, high school began to get a little crazy, where people would start speaking up. This wasn't the 60s or 70s. This was the 80s. And I remember going in and saying, look, your teacher has given me 10 minutes to give an impromptu speech on entrepreneurialism and being your own boss. I don't really know where to start. And someone said, well, why don't you start with the 10th minute? And I'm like, that's not very nice to say to the speaker that's supposed to deliver 10 minutes. So I'm going to let you know the gold in what I'm about to share may be in the 7th minute. But let me start by saying what I think is the most important thing you asked me. You will not get what you want out of life if you are not actively doing it on a daily basis. Jim Rohn says your success is based on daily principles practiced over time. Anthony Robbins says you are today what you've been thinking about for the last 90 days. Again, these may or may not be the first people you've ever heard it from. That's who I remember. So let's start with the end in mind. We all want to be able to be financially retired and choosing which deals we run in real estate. That's where we all want to be. The only way to get there, using training we talked about today, is through enough leads coming in where you not only have enough leads, but you can pick and choose the ones you want that are in your sweet spot, and you refer out the rest. And that's the life we want, which means you don't need some leads, you need enough leads to get qualified leads. And that's more than most of us have today. So Sean, how do you get them? By some consistent activity. There will not be consistent activity without an urgency to start and an actual commitment and activity to do it. And that's not going to happen if you don't have a clear picture of what you want out of it and a strategy you believe you can do it. Andy Hollis was sitting there desperate to leave the industry, but was he really? I think he was desperate to stay. So he found YouTube. And in his talk, he'll tell you he wasn't the sharpest tool in the knife in the drawer, but he knew where the sharpener was. My point is, Jim Rohn talks about it. You can outwork anybody and get what you want if you outwork some of the people that are more talented. So dream and belief is a yin and yang. It's a sweet and sour. They have to be properly aligned. And if you don't have enough leads, listen to what I'm about to say. If you don't have enough leads, you have a belief problem. Not a dream problem. A belief problem. That you have a way to get the leads you want, and it's not too taxing on your system. And that's the problem. Most of us start down a path and we're not sure we're going to get to the end. We're just an inch in, and an inch in, and an inch in, and we're excited on the way in, Sean, until all of a sudden we're looking if there's a way out. I'm going to remind you of a line, one of my favorite things to post on Facebook. I do it regularly. Sometimes the only way through is through. So don't go down a lead generating path that you don't believe you can achieve. Now, I'm not one that says study, investigate, study. Why? Richest Man in Babylon, chapter 2, the most important principle I've ever heard, talks about make quick decisions. Gather enough information and don't look for ways out, look for ways in. Is this who I am? Is this what I'd like to learn? And is this something I'd like to receive as a prospect? Now you're in the right zone. Then decide how much time you're going to need to spend and make the time. Now, we've got about 3 minutes. Let me close that point with one point. I absolutely believe any one of us can take any of the 9 tips that are coming out in a couple of days and solely in that one vertical or strategy or pathway generate enough money that you wanted based on the number you picked at the beginning of the year. Like when I said beginning of the conversation, what do you need minimally? Let me tell you the magic of making more money than what you need minimally. I am going to assure you that 99% of you have never heard this. And I can assure you I've never heard anyone say it, but I'm sure I learned it from somebody. The way to make more money than what you need minimally is to set a goal minimally and a strategy that's going to hit that goal that you're 100% believing I can do. And if you got a 12-month goal, hit it in 10 months. Hit it in 9 months. Then decide, do I want to take the next 3 months off? Or am I going to maintain the barrage of leads coming in? And now you go from 4 million, your goal, up to 6 million. Oh, shoot. Sean, you're one of my favorite person to remind me to tell stories. My wife's sitting next to me. 2 years ago, she did a couple $1 million in real estate. Last year, she decided to focus on open houses, actually had someone call her to sit on their open house. It was a $2.4 million property that she co-listed. They happened to have one right next door, another $1.8 million house that she co-listed. And that opened up the door to last year doing about $4.5 million. Well, we're now in March, and she's already got almost 5 million, 6 million done or pending this year. That's called momentum. And that happens when you are constantly active, which only happens because you become urgent, which will only happen because you absolutely believe the strategy you're going down will work for you. Not that it has to work for you. Very few people live that way. It's the one that you believe it will work for you. Understanding that everything happens between now and freedom, so you're going to have some sideways glances and pushes. It's part of the program. How do you get to 7 million? If you want 4 million, you don't set the goal for 7. You set the goal for 4 in a year, and you hit it in 8 months. Sean, does that make sense? Anybody have a final question for me? If not,
Anybody?
it's been a pleasure. Jeff, tell them what they do here, how they can find this, and all, and invite them back again next week.
For sure. So, guys, this will the recording will be posted probably within the next hour and a half. We'll have this up. It'll be on the Freedom Team YouTube channel. Anybody can find us there. If you're part of EXP, you can go to the Freedom Team Workplace group. I would tell you to be in there every day just to keep up and comment on people's posts and help out where you can. All of us working together, the collaboration is great. Under the learning tab is where you can find all of these trainings. Okay, they're all there. It takes you back to the YouTube channel. You can also go to freedomteamsupport.com and you can find all of them there as well. Okay, so multiple places to find these. This will be up in the next hour and a half. Next week, Sean Richardson's coming in. He's an icon agent with EXP. Going to be talking more about AI. Okay, he's really got it down and he's been working it hard. So we've done an AI training a couple of months ago. It was awesome. This will be another round of that, more stuff, learning it from another perspective with Sean. That'll be great next Tuesday. You're all invited back. Come back, invite your friends. The more, the better. Again, always great stuff every week. So Guys, thank you all for being here. Eric, thank you. And thank you and Evely for all the work you're doing on this video. I can't wait to see it here in a couple days. It'll be out there and available to everybody, hour long, and then it'll lead you back to all these different trainings. Pick the one that works for you and go to work. Be consistent. Watch what happens. It could be a big year for everybody. Okay. We'll see you guys. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sean.
Man.
Thanks, guys.
Great job, guys.